quorum is
Councilman Padilla gets here.
a quorum is present.
All right. Going to go right into the city clerk. Department head presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Yesterday, you heard from 10 of the 14 budget. You heard 10 of the 14 budget presentations by staff. Today, you'll receive presentations from the remaining 4 departments. As I stated yesterday, all departments will follow the same format. The departments will present their core services, total budget authority, staffing levels, program changes, unfunded needs, and the impact of a 10% work furlough should the 10% workforce reduction should the furlough not be approved by the bargaining groups.
But you told them we gave away all the money yesterday, right? Madam City Clerk.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Yvonne Horton, Inglewood City Clerk, and let's see. Michael, I think you're gonna have to help me. It jumped. Oh, okay. So our core services are the records keeper. We attend city council meetings, distribute council agendas and prepare the council minutes, conduct elections, serve as an escrow officer and process deeds, serve on permits and license and claims review, process legal publications, process short and long form agreements. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
You can't?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to speak a little closer.
Oh, okay, sorry. Process all property owner participation agreements, maintain all conflict of interest 700s and for campaign statement 460s, process weed abatement and bids, public records requests, claim forms, maintain the ordinances and resolution books, issue dog license. That's the highlight of our day. And handle customer service requests and administer the oath, and that's the #1 highlight. Our budget for this year is $507,172. And we don't have an election, so we're just asking for the $5,500. That will come up for next year's election, and that's usually for our publications, just to have funds there. We have 3 full-timers and 2 part-timers. And our challenges are postage and paper, kind of like everybody else as the costs increase, and inadequate staffing leading to delays in the execution of core services and other requests. 10% reduction would be $43,600, and that would be devastating because we'd probably have to get rid of someone, and we're already short, so that would be tragic. What was that? What was the word yesterday?
Destroyed. It would destroy the
It would
operation.
destroy.
Destroy it.
Oh, yeah, let me get that right. It destroy. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Residential sound installation?
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. My name is Betty Griffith. I'm the outreach coordinator for residential sound installation, and I will be presenting our budget. Okay.
Press it again, the bottom.
That's it, huh?
No, the one on the right. Yeah, click it. There you go.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Our core services are grant administration, contract oversight, project management. And under project management, we recently engaged CSDA to assist in that effort. Noise mitigation for residential homes, retrofit eligible homes with installation of sound rated products and ventilation systems, and follow up on limited warranties for labor and products. Our budget authority and staffing levels have not changed from 2012 2013 to 2013-14. The slight difference in the dollar value is due to the increase in benefit rates as well as step increases. However, on the 25 staffing levels, there's 6 vacancies. So we have 19 actually there. Program and service changes. FAA program guidance letter, which is referred to as the PIGL, has a 2-step criteria now for eligibility that will go in place in October 2015. That criteria is a location within the noise contour and a 45 decibel interior noise test. Implications on the program after October 15th will be seen. Requires implementation plan between now and 2015. Reports every 6 months to FAA. Our regular status and the quantity of projected incomplete units. Program and service changes to continue. We must complete construction by December 2015. We've engaged with a new design team. We have explored and implemented large contract ramifications and scheduling capacity to help us meet that deadline. Department challenges, LAWA funding to match the FAA grant, the program guidance letter, the 2-step eligibility beyond 215. We have more than 25 homes yet to go, and advising the owners of the impending changes. Unfunded needs. Eden, to customize our Eden system to help us with our reporting and data for our required reports that must go into our sponsors, and to engage the service of GIS through Public Works.
What do you exactly mean when you say engage GIS? If it's available, what's the issue?
We at one time had our own GIS tech on the floor, and now we'll be using our GIS department within the city.
But you say it's an unfunded need.
Unfunded in that.
Why would it cost us to use our own GIS system?
I'll let Mr. Esparza answer that for us.
Always being mindful of the general fund, the RSI department, which is grant funded, wants to make sure that those services that we request from a general fund department are then reimbursed from grant funds to offset any general fund cost to that department. So what we're now coordinating is the use of their services and by paying for it through our grant funds, that way alleviating that cost to the general fund.
But it is funded because we have grant monies available.
Yes.
We don't have to come up with general fund money for that.
No, and actually it's just the opposite. We want to say.
I got it. All right, thank you.
Comment, Mayor?
Yes, sir. Councilman Franklin?
Yes, I'm concerned with reference to your staffing. You have 25 positions, but only 19 of them filled. And yet this council has reached out to a vigorous outreach for residential sound installation of 1,000 families per year, with the anticipation of the sunset being 2015, being able to meet that rigid demand. With the current 19 and your comment about you are exploring or engaging a new design team, will that still be able to meet that threshold of the demand of this council?
Yes, we believe that can be met with current staff levels.
If that becomes an issue, would you please make certain that that Mr. Esparza is aware of that, to alert this council, so that way if in fact we need to expand, that we're able to do that post haste in order to meet this sunset of 2015.
Well, quick comment. As I understand it, the in-house staff that we maintain right now is significantly larger than other programs to start with, and by the engagement of this firm to do a large-scale project, that we're probably just fine. Is that right?
We believe we'll be just fine with the current staff.
Because we're funding our staff out of grant funds, and the less money we spend on staff, the more money we have to do homes.
Correct.
That average staff member is about 80,000 a year, and a home to insulate is about 25,000. So if you add 6 people, 80,000 a year, that's a number of homes that you would take grant funding away from. And as it is now, we're going to have to stretch to make this 2,500 homes by 2015. So while we do want to know if staffing becomes an issue, we want to use as much money on insulating homes as possible. So I want to applaud both you and Mr. Esparza for, as we tread out, that we stop spending money on staff and spend it on homes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Police. Welcome, Chief Fronterada.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, staff. Here today to present the 2013-14 police budget. Oh, let me get this one right here. To the right. Okay, gotta know where to press the buttons. All right, so initially I'm going to talk a little bit about our core services, and our fundamental responsibilities of a 24-hour emergency and non-emergency services for crimes against persons, property, investigation of traffic collisions, disturbances, medical emergencies, and disasters. Additional core services are in the investigative realm as it relates to witness interviews, suspect interrogations, evidence collection, and prosecutorial assistance. A big part of what we do also is in our crime prevention and community education areas of neighborhood watch groups, which we're very proud to be a part of, and well over 240 neighborhood watch groups in the city. Our business watch programs, ICOP centers, community academy, and police explorers. In addition to those core services, certainly important is traffic enforcement, the investigation of that, traffic enforcement and education, our parking control services, parking enforcement, traffic control, and school crossing guards services. Which we're happy to report that we'll be seeing more of this beginning in January, as our special event services as it relates to event safety planning at concerts, festivals, parades, rallies, demonstrations, protests, dignitary visits, and site security. Budgeting authority and staffing is a little bit increased this year as a result of benefit cost increases to $47,890,000. Program and service changes. We've made a significant paradigm shift in concentrating on the reduction of crime and the fear of crime. Also enhancement of our directed and enhanced patrols, the concerns of our business community, and the decentralization of the senior lead officer program, but I would contend that we have 182 senior lead officers. Our program and service changes is, as you know, we're working with the school district to provide an administrative law enforcement service provided to the Inglewood Unified School District through the assignment of an acting chief of public safety. Also our cooperative arrangement with the housing, HUD, to enhance fraud investigations and security programs. Some of our challenges are reduction of programs and services resulting from the prior elimination of civilian support staff positions as they directly impact our community affairs programs. Our front desk and records division hours have been reduced. Forensic services, crime analysis, administrative support experience, the staffing shortages there. Employee hiring for vacant safety and support positions, certainly in the police officer positions, custody officer, emergency service dispatchers, police records technicians. also seen a challenge in, from our medical absences and physical limitations as they relate to the increased use of overtime. Inhibits our ability to fill these positions for extended periods of time, and unresolved case impact workload of remaining employees. On our unfunded needs area is replacement of our CAD RMS system, and also continued replacement of our fleet marked vehicles, and a citywide program to bring a camera system throughout the city, particularly at our major intersections along our major corridors, and the overtime funding for Detective Bureau investigations. Position requests, in addition to police officers, are the non-sworn positions in dispatch, custody officers, a crime analyst, and a forensic specialist, and a property officer, and a records assistant. These are areas that we desperately need to increase, and I would suggest or submit that they would have a positive impact on overtime reduction. That's the impact of a 10% reduction in the general fund on us, equates to about 33 police officers. Thank you.
Chief, do you have an estimate as far as how much in dollars overtime would be saved if those requested positions were filled?
I could give you some guesstimated figures right now, because I know we're running over on those numbers now, but clearly my estimate numbers would be close to $150,000.
And what did they total?
On the requested positions, equate to, I want to say, 823,000, but those vacancies, $825,000.
So the net would be over 700,000.
Yes.
No, under 700,000. Okay, thank you. Any other
Real
questions?
quick, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Morales.
Overtime, how much is budgeted for overtime this year?
$1,050,000, roughly $50,000.
What did we use last year, this last year?
Last year's budget was roughly, we had a savings there of $770,000.
I just wanted to take the time to point out what a great job you've done on that part, because I remember the days we were going up close to 4 million or something like that. So you've done a good job all around. The CAD system, you've mentioned how desperate we are for that, but there's no funding for it. You know, how are we gonna do that?
Well-
How are we gonna overcome that?
Yeah, we have some grant funding that certainly would be some seed money for that. And then we would hopefully work out a long-term arrangement with the manufacturer in terms of a finance arrangement.
Okay,
That'd be
that's what I
also-
was gonna ask, if they have that kind of ability. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, go ahead, Councilman Franklin.
A couple things. I know everyone is ecstatic on this dais on how instrumental you've been on suppressing the crime at its lowest rates ever, at least for a number of years for the city. I now want to raise another issue based upon the city manager's report that made reference about 10 unfilled positions, 9 being sworn and 1 being a detective. And that I just want to find out your take on that, those positions remain unfilled in next year's budget.
Well, that's certainly a challenge for us. I mean, we're actually down to 18 positions overall, but that would have an impact on certainly to have a greater impact on the reduction of crime and the fear of crime, to have that personnel in there. But you know, we're always striving for ways to become more innovative in our crime-fighting abilities and our crime-fighting software programs that we utilize. But it does have an impact on us, those 10 positions.
The reason why I want to continue to explore that is the fact that you and I have been in serious discussion regarding Prop 109 and the impact of the prisoners being released from the state to the county back into their communities. And we already know that there's been a number already brought into the city of Inglewood from their previous residency. And our ability to now serve the community, and based on the statistical analysis that 62 to 63% of them are become offenders again. And so there's a need to make sure we have officers present, and that some of the funding, and I'm going to see if I hit this right, some of the funding could be, hint, hint, that with the Red Flex camera system, we're looking to no longer renew their contract by the end of February 2014 at $89,000 a month pop, could go toward what the mayor had referenced earlier about filling some of these vacancies or that is critically need to be filled. And then finally, with the replacement of the CAD, which you said there was no money for the project at this point, you are looking at grant funding, but what about asset forfeiture funds?
Yes,
To help
that-
offset that.
Yes, that would be also in addition to that to help fund that program.
Okay. So again, thank you for a great job. I'm through, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Brazil?
Just a quick comment, although it's not in this report, it was in the city attorney's report, and I just want to acknowledge that the police department has dropped, I think it's 800,000 from previous,
1.6 million. 1.6 million.
oh, excuse me, 1.6 million from previous years in liability payouts. So I want to commend you and your staff for that, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Chief, I want to reference a few things. First of all, there's no intention that as funds become available that we not fill police vacancies. The reality is, and I think you can corroborate, it takes a year or more to fill a police officer position. And you have 12 vacancies?
18.
18 vacancies. And the reality is there's no way that within 6 to 9 months you're going to fill 18 police vacancies. You have to recruit, test, polygraph, background, medicals, and then put them in the academy. They'll be police trainees. They won't be police officers. Police trainees make how much an hour?
Well, I know the base salary is about 80,000.
But not for a police trainee.
No, I'm sorry.
We
Yeah.
send them in the academy as trainees, so they're
Yeah, correct.
civilians.
Yeah.
So the reality is that this is a prudent way to budget, because to fully fund those vacancies, it's unlikely, it's impossible actually, that we would fill them. So I just want to make the commitment, and I know the council feels the same way. As you are able to fill, we will find the funding as the year goes by for the few that you're able to recruit. There's a big danger in recruiting too fast, as the department has found, other departments have found. If you attempt to rush and recruit, you end up with a problem for 30 years. And I know you don't intend for that to happen. So for anybody that would watch this, I want them to understand we have a total commitment to fully staffing the police department, but realistically, there's no way we're going to fill 18 vacancies in the next 12 months. The other thing I wanted to note, having been in the business myself, is the supportive job you're doing and the men and women of the police department are doing. Not only have you, in the last 2 years, cut the homicide rate to the lowest it's been since we started keeping records in 1978. You had 13 the year prior and 14 last year, and the lowest we've ever had in the city since we kept records is 13, and we've had as many as 55. This year, we're only at 50% of that, less than 50% of that. So it's an outstanding accomplishment with the reduced staffing that you have, and also not to go over on overtime. It's amazing. And then at the same time to reduce liability exposures you have, which in the end saves $1 million saved is jobs in this city. And so we really are appreciative of the job you're doing, your command staff are doing, and the men and women are doing. And I want to tell you we appreciate it.
We all echo that.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I will certainly, I have my command staff members here with me today, but I will certainly echo that to the men and women of the department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Thank you.
And now we're Parks, Recreation, and Library Services. Welcome, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm pleased to report to you the proposed budget for Parks and Recreation, library services. Of our core services, they are carried out by 4 divisions, which include Park Administration, Recreation and Cultural, Human Services, and Library Services. Parks Administration consists of our Parks Maintenance and Construction sections, as well as graffiti abatement. The Recreation Division includes the Recreation Facility Supervision, Early Childhood Development Programs, Sports and Physical Activities, our summer camps, as well as cultural and enrichment classes. Under Human Services, of course, we have our Senior Nutrition Program. We have Care Management Services for seniors, which are designed to help seniors remain independent and in their homes, Senior Transportation Services, overall Senior Center operations, as well as Youth and Family Services, which includes everything from our after-school recreation program to programs for pregnant teens. Our 4th division is the Library Division. That division is tasked with collection management of books and other material that may be loaned or used at the library, acquisition, cataloging, processing, circulation and stacks maintenance. We have free computers that we consider core as long as we're open, and Wi-Fi. Other services that are not core but we think worth mentioning, our department is tasked with handling, executing the bulk of the city's special events. We do our summer lunch program, a Be Well fitness program for seniors, passport processing, as well as volunteer coordination to help supplement some of our staffing needs. Our difference this year in our budget is just over $1 million. It reflects a difference of 9 full-time positions and 1.1 part-time positions. The bulk of that is realized since the landscaping division was transferred to the Public Works Department. The other is realized through a driver position that we were able to acquire in one of our grant section, as well as a portion of a senior center assistant, which is also grant supported. Our department, as you see, it appears that we have about 120 staff members. However, that grows at any given time during our peak seasons. Because of those part-times, we may have anywhere from 1 to 4 individuals working in an FTE, depending on what season or what time of year we're in. For example, during our summer season, when we bring on anywhere from an additional 10 to 20 staff members. As mentioned, we transferred earlier in the year duties for the tree section to the Public Works Department. That does need to be further addressed through our IMC because it currently still references all supervision or authority for the Parks, Recreation, and Library Services Department. We will be following up on that. Our program and service changes for this year include an impact to us as a result of the CDBG reductions. It resulted in approximately a 66% decrease in the programs that were previously funded by CDBG funds, including programs and activities at the Lock Haven Center, Cement Ski Park, as well as Rogers Ashwood Park. For Lock Haven, the reduction amounted to $19,275. What that means is that we will currently be able to offer or provide staffing for a four-week camp as opposed to 2 4-week camps, so an 8-week period. It's similar for Saminsky, reduced by $19,840. Again, a 4-week session as opposed to 2 4-week sessions. Similar for Rogers Ash, 4-week session as opposed to 2 8-week sessions. How we plan to try to mitigate this is to partner with organizations such as EduCamp in Southern California, Fine Music Center to augment the city's program. Our plan B is then to look at a 6-week program as opposed to an 8-week program so we can ensure that services are offered in all of the areas in an equal fashion. Human Services, I mentioned we were able to acquire an additional driver through our grants fund. This allows us to better serve the transportation needs of our seniors. Those needs range from taking seniors to medical appointments, grocery store shopping, as well as recreational outings such as going to the farmer's market. They are looking forward to being able to participate in the market here in their own community. Our after-school program, the proposed budget includes 1 FTE of a program specialist. When the budget was put together, some savings had been identified in 2 sections of our budget. However, it meant that we would take money from 2 different funds, which is not allowable. So once the position was calculated, it resulted in a larger amount having to come from the savings than necessary, and what it resulted in was a great impact to our after-school program. So we are asking that we have that proposed position eliminated and restore back the impacted positions, which were 2.50 senior recreation leaders and 0.5 FTE. Historically, that section had recorded a savings. However, that savings was based on 5 after-school sites. Last year, we added 2 sites. However, we did not increase our budget, and we were able to meet the needs with that particular budget. So we did not request any additional funding. The program was executed within budget. We do need it to be restored back to its previous manner in order to maintain the current level of services, which is 7 after-school sites. I must note that the community, specifically 2 schools in the area, La Tijera and Highland, have been speaking with us about adding after-school program sites at their school. However, our budget doesn't currently support it. If it is the council's will, we would love to serve there. It equates to about $21,000 a site. Annually. Per site. Some of our department challenges. One of our largest challenges is the maintenance of over 170 acres of greenlands, parks, street medians, traffic islands, and parkways with the staff that we have. Prior to the workforce reductions and a few years ago, we were coming off a high where we had not only our staff, but we were benefiting from approximately 13 hour workers, as well as a nice selection of South Bay WIB subsidized workers and GAIN workers. We still are enjoying some workers from South Bay WIB. However, our core staff consists of about 11 staff that are tasked with all of that maintenance. Our budget over the past few years has been reduced by 32%, and that impacts the way we look and the way we feel. So when you drive by and you see the grass is brown, it's because we have to water less because we have less water money. Our other challenge has to do with our part-time staff. Our department is over 50% staffed by part-timers, and currently any new part-timers that we hire are under a restriction that they can only work a certain amount of hours, which greatly impacts our operation. I'll give you an example. For example, in our transportation section, I have 8 drivers. Right now, I have 1 driver that's out on IOD. I have another driver that just went out on medical. On any given day, I have someone out because it's a 5-day operation due to the furlough. The 1 driver that I have with a little flexibility is a part-time driver, but I'm restricted to the number of annual hours that he can work, less than 1,000. So if I work him at the capacity that I need him at, he'll be done in a couple of months. So what I'm asking for is some I don't want to use the term leniency, but I can't think of another one at this time, but to be able to continue to work these individuals beyond the 999 hours. What it means is that they would, I believe, qualify for CalPERS, but these are $9, $10, $11 hour jobs. And so for us, it's a minimal impact when you consider the time that we've invested in that staff person, the training, the amount of time that has to go back into recruiting someone else to bring them in to work the program. And a lot of times we will have identified someone that we really want to stay on our team. They're dedicated to the program, they enjoy their jobs, and they work well with the community, but all of a sudden we sometimes have to let them go. That's the part-time restriction item I just spoke about. Another challenge we have is meeting the needs of our seniors with our senior nutrition program. We have been able to benefit or help subsidize the county grants that we receive for this by receiving CDBG funding, and that has helped us. Currently, we've gotten our waiting list down from 40 to about 21. We are waiting to hear back from a grant that we applied for from the California Wellness Foundation. If we're successful with that, we'll be able to further address this number here. Unfunded needs. This is an urgent request that I've spoken about for the last 2 years, so I'm hoping that I will have favor with you this year. I have an emergency request. We need money for tables and chairs. 80% of our current inventory is not in the best condition. This includes the very tables and chairs that you may call on if you're having a community meeting or you need us to bring over extra items. If you need more than If you need 6 or 7, we pull out the best because they're coming. But if you need 12, then you may end up with these that are in disrepair. And generally, it's not a good showing, and we'd like to be able to replace those. Our needs list is long, so I only captured a few. But furniture for the library, new public computers for the library, exterior and interior painting for Darby Park. You may recall at Tuesday's meeting, there was a gentleman that spoke briefly about the restrooms and the paint at the bathroom. It sounded as if the bathrooms were not painted, but it actually relates to the community rooms there, which are in dire need of paint. The entire facility, interior and exterior, at $120K. So while we are looking for grant funding, we keep our eyes open. We've benefited at other sites because we've been able to take advantage of CDBG funds based on where the park sites are. We can't use CDBG at Darby Park. And other grant sources, whether it was our money when we did the solar panels. But we continue to look for grant funding to address this issue. Immediately, I've had a conversation with Public Works staff, and we will be looking at the new budget year to deal with the classrooms that need painting. Library system for our library, tennis courts resurfacing, a new irrigation system, and Vincent Park office renovations are among the items that are on our needs list. With an approximate $7 million general fund budget, approximately $6 million of that is general fund, so it would mean approximately $601,000 in a reduction. I heard a number of terms yesterday. I choose to use the term decimate today. So if we have to have this amount of a reduction, it would decimate our department. It could result in the closure of a library, recreation center, elimination of maintenance staff. It would be detrimental.
Would just destroy it.
Destroy, decimate.
Okay. Okay, couple questions. You say that you've been asking for this, these chairs and furniture for the library for the last 2 years. I don't recall that, but I think we would be predisposed to find that for you. When you say the public computers, the main library, is it that they're antiquated or obsolete, or?
They're antiquated. We need better technology. They're old. They were last acquired for us through a Gates grant many years ago.
Mm-hmm. 6 years ago, then they.
6 years ago.
After 18 months, the computer is obsolete. So, but I would imagine that there are other grants available for libraries.
Correct.
Okay, so let's explore that, and then we as a council would look at that as well. Now, when you say the security system, what's the problem with the security system? Oh, okay, we won't talk about it. We'll talk about it offline. That was cute. Now, the Vincent Park office renovation, as I understood it, the office that used to be in the park property proper was torn down.
Absolutely. That $1.5 million doesn't represent the Taj Mahal that we would like to go there. That's just to get what's there in a condition that's.
Okay, to get what's there, but the only office that I know of is like in that service center area. Is there another office area?
At the
Vincent
Vincent
Park?
Right there. The park maintenance staff have an office in one side.
Right.
And then part of recreation has offices in the other parts of the building that were previously occupied by, I believe, a Bateman crew many years ago.
I understand it, but all this is in that service area, is that right?
Yes.
So wouldn't it be better, though, if we were to have a park office that it were actually in the park area where it was accessible by park patrons? Because that area seems to be sequestered. I'm just trying to see if I understand it. Wouldn't you
Absolutely.
rather?
We're not stuck on being there. Our ideal is to have a better space, which would be more than $1.5 million, in a more central location of the park for visibility as well as access by the public. But
Okay.
our immediate needs, when we talk about our pressing needs, we just need to address that.
See,
as
and
well.
this is what I'm trying to understand. So you're talking about building a facility that has a recreational, indoor rec component to it, or you just an office that you can have staff on site, on premises at the park? What are you talking about?
The 1.5 references the fact that we need to have some staff on site, and
Okay.
they have a need for currently office buildings. It doesn't represent the dream position, which is a larger facility that has some amenities included to it.
But you don't intend to do recreation programming out of this building. This is a staff building, is that right?
Correct.
I think it could be done for less than 1.5 million. And I think there are other ways other than general fund to accomplish that, but I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were talking about. Are there any other questions?
I have some.
Councilman Dotson?
Sabrina, Darby Park,
Yes.
you saying it's gonna take $120K to paint the inside building?
Right, the interior and the exterior.
Exterior.
The back room area, we have the racquetball court, so the entire facility.
Have we got estimates on that, or it's just?
That's preliminarily budget numbers based on my conversations with facility folks.
Okay, because I was in there and the building inside, and I can't tell you about outside, but inside is terrible. And a lot of people use that park, so if there's any way possible for us to do anything, I'd really like to see the inside of that park painted, the building.
But this is not something that staff could do?
Well,
Paint the-
typically,
paint
we
the
had a
interior?
paint crew. We don't have a paint crew anymore.
No, I know in Parks and Rec you don't, but we do have people in the city that paint.
We
I know we
We
do.
have a graffiti section.
Okay, all right. Okay, they paint, all right. Councilman Morales?
Yeah, just have a few things. First, I'll start since the mayor mentioned the computers. I wanted to know who's using them now. Is it mostly students, or is it, kind of
General public, these are
General
the public
public, are they
computers
just
that
going
you
in,
come in to look up information,
reading the
find your
paper, stuff like
resources.
that, regular use?
Correct.
Okay. The, another thing was, your after-school programs. You said you're 21,000 away from actually getting them into 2 other schools, right?
Per site.
That's
Per site, 21 per site. Well,
Twofold.
I'm a big, I'm big on the after-school program. I was persistent when we got them into my area. Sorry about that, but you did it, and that's a great service for the people of whatever school they're going to. What is it up to now per student, per family? A
in
month?
terms of the dollar amount?
Yeah, dollar
It's
amount.
$60.
$60, but they get to go after school, they get a snack, people help them, they take care of them. I mean, and the parents can show up about 5 or 6 to pick them up. I mean, it's ridiculously low cost, and it's a service that is amazing for parents that actually have to work. So when we're talking about 21,000 per site, I can tell you what a big deal it is in my area, and every time it's threatened, that's a very tough time. So, I'm a big proponent. I wanted to share that with staff, with my colleagues. So I'm supportive of that. Now, the driver issue, well, Maura, you mentioned that as an example, but the lack of being able to use the part-time workers further out than 999 hours.
Correct.
Now, it's hard to believe that we can't all get together and figure that issue out right there, because that should be figured out. Now, before I go to staff, I mean, even just thinking right here, I mean, I know that they've probably thought about it, but I'm thinking after the 999, maybe, the Jam Vogel, the whip can put them on the gate program if it's $9 or $10 an hour, and they can continue on working until the following year and start over at 0 hours. Somehow, we have to be able to figure that out, because that's ridiculous that you have to let that employee go. Now, you were going to say something?
Yes, Councilman. The issue with the 1,000-hour is the requirement that we would need to put that employee into the PERS system, even though they're only
understand the
part-time. What Ms. Barnes brings up is actually, in her particular arena, it's not an expense issue, because you have fairly lower-paid employees. I mean, I think you said it was $10 an hour. Putting someone in PERS and paying both the employee and the employer side of PERS, actually the employee would pay the employee portion. It's not an expense issue, it's a policy issue that we have, because we have other part-time staff
No,
throughout the city.
I understand what the issue is. I'm not saying they would go over the 999 hours. I say when they reach 999 hours, they cease to work for the city as an employee of the city for the remainder of that calendar year, fiscal year, and you move them into a situation with like the gate employees from Jam Vogel, and they can work for the remainder of the year at the same rate, so that they don't have to go into PERS, which is our issue, correct? That's
Right.
the one we're trying to go around.
That's
But-
correct.
But for me, she brings up a good point. I mean, she's got, you know, at some point, somebody's gonna end up driving. Either it's the same guy or it's somebody else that she's gotta pull from somewhere else to do it.
Right, and actually, that could be a viable solution. We'll certainly look into that. The concern is, most of the South Bay WIB or GAIN employees, sometimes there's a match if it's not 100% covered, and that could pose a problem with CalPERS that we might be trying to skirt the issue. But more so, what we could do is we could look to allow her to have more than one part-time person.
There you go, that too.
So if we gave her a pool of 2 or 3 part-time people and spread those hours out, the expense is probably even less than the headache going through trying to solve the other issue.
Which is great. You know, my point in saying that is that, you know, the fact that she has to bring it up here is that's, to me, is confusing. But anyway, as long as it's resolved, I'm all for that too. And just to let you know that I've actually been using the parks more as a parent now the last couple of years. And I have to tell you, I'm amazed how many people actually use it on a daily basis, how it's well kept, and after so many people go every night, and safe. You know, I commend you for doing it with such a low staff. Thank you.
You know, I was gonna add to Councilman Morales' sentiment. Wouldn't it be better just to have a bigger pool of part-timers as opposed to just enough to fill the position?
Well, a bigger pool of part-timers means additional monies. One or the other.
No, I don't think we're communicating.
Okay.
If you have a bigger pool of part-timers, but each one of them works less, then you end up being able to do the work, spread the payout amongst more people, but each individual employee doesn't hit the $9.99 threshold. That's what I was saying. And then you don't lose people that are experienced because, you know, you've recruited this group of people. They just work less and they're able to work more or less throughout the year. So that was the issue. I just let you hire more, but work them less.
Okay, take that.
Mayor, just to clarify, what Sabrina's asking for, she needs more than the hours that she has. So in order, just by taking the number of hours that she currently has and splitting it up among more staff, doesn't solve her issue. She wants more hours for more drivers, so she does need more drivers and more money.
I don't think that, look, I don't think we're arguing and giving her more driving time. I think the issue is a policy issue that if it spreads through the rest of the city could get to be expensive. And so the issue is how we're going to avoid the $9.99 limit being exceeded. But I'm saying I believe that we're willing to give her more drivers working less hours. I mean, that's what I hear. I mean, we'll decide that as we review the budget. But I think you hear a sentiment to support what you're trying to do.
And if I could just say, the driver issue, I believe they've more than been helpful in helping us deal with. We were able to acquire another one through, I gave that as an example, through our grant fund, but the major problem is in the recreation division. So we did.
And the cap there as well, right?
Correct, so just in terms of where it is.
So do you have enough hours or?
I don't have enough hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you have a flow chart that allows us to see what jobs need to be done, and a staffing level chart that shows what your ideal staffing is and what you're able to accomplish right now?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll make sure that we receive that. Councilman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment. I was at La Tijera Charter School, as it is now, last night, and several parents and staff voiced interest in that after-school program. So I know that they would very much welcome it. If there's any way that we can do it, I certainly would support that. And I know it's $21,000, but hopefully we can find that funding. I also want to echo that we do need to do something with the library as it relates to our computer system that's antiquated. So please let us know what we can do to help get that grant funding going as far as how we explore that and make that happen. And I want to thank you for the work you're doing over at North Park with city staff and getting that facility moving forward. Thank you very much.
Councilman Franklin.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Piggybacking with the driver situation, I understand that, as the mayor was talking about, having a larger pool of drivers, but as the city manager was saying, it's really the dollars that you have for the drivers. And there's also a challenge you deal with where drivers are now accustomed to receiving X number of take-home pay. and now you're talking about reducing it, may also have a domino effect of the driver that you currently have desiring to still remain. So that's an issue to deal with. I want to also verify with reference to your concerns regarding tables and chairs and disrepair. Clarify what you mean with reference to the tables and chairs. Are they desks? Are they folding chairs?
These are the 6-foot recreational table and the folding, 6-foot
6-foot folding, okay, they fold.
and the folding chairs.
Okay, all right. And so, that being said, again, you're looking for grants, but have you also reached out to the chamber for collaboration with businesses? To see if they have tables and chairs that they could contribute to the city? Or even churches, for example, that have that furniture that has not been used on a regular basis that could be donated to the city?
We've explored that in the past, and what we get into is a city standard issue as well as a liability issue. So that's not something that we've explored in great detail for them to donate. We will definitely look at asking them to pay for them.
Or maybe contribute to what they currently have in their storage. Particularly, we keep hearing about Inglewood Unified School District are going to have to cut back and may have to reduce some of the campuses, or the need of use of some of the furniture they may have. They may have folding chairs and tables that could also be made available for us as well. The other item I want to talk about has to do with the public computers, and you've talked about the budgeted need of around $45K, and there's approximately 32 throughout the various locations of the city. So when you're giving the 45, are you referencing the licensing of the hardware for the computers in addition to the hardware itself? And does that include the computer itself and the monitors?
Yes, it includes the computer and the monitor and the software that's involved with it,
Okay.
spread across.
Okay, and then the other comment I want to get clarification on had to do with your request for the after-school program, where you wanted to restore the recreational leaders that you have, which were equivalent to 2.5 leaders, as well as a half senior leader. And that would be for the new sites that you're proposing?
No, that's just for the 7 sites. That's to put it back the way it was, the way we're operating in this current fiscal year. That doesn't take into consideration the 2 additional sites if you elect to add those, 1 or 2 sites.
And all sites are equated to approximately 21,000 per site?
Correct.
Okay. So would you also need staffing in addition to these other 2 were added to the 9?
That's included in that 21. That's staffing.
So try again. The 7 sites is the 2.5 plus the half.
Correct.
Now, you're adding 2 more sites,
Correct.
so that's 9 sites.
Correct.
And do you need more manpower to have these other sites? So it's going to increase beyond the 2.5 and a half of the senior leader and the rec leader.
Correct. It will be broken down in that $21,000 cost. That includes the staffing.
Okay, so let me try again. All 9 is 21,000 each.
Yes.
And of all 9, the 2.5 rec leaders and the senior leaders, half leader will cover those 9.
No. What's asked for, the 2.5 and the 0.5 gets us back to our current status right now to serve 7 sites. My sidebar was that we've also been asked to have programs at 2 other sites, and if you elect to do that, that's an additional $21,000 per site. That includes the staffing that's required.
And that's Highland, and what was the other one?
La Tierra.
La Tierra.
Okay, and we can't talk about the library security system. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Barnes.
Mayor and City Council, I've just been talking to Michael about the issue of the chairs. I believe that we can find $15,000 within our current year budget if the council directed to purchase those chairs. That's within my budget authority. I could approve those without coming back to council if directed.
Fine, as long as we identify the tables are not to be set on.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you.
Any persons from the public that wish to make a comment may do so at this time. With that, we'll close public comment. Okay. Well, Gil, I didn't think you'd miss a chance.
Mayor, I didn't turn the clock on. Did you want me to turn it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's okay. I'll keep, don't worry about it. I keep the time. I know about what 3 minutes is now.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. Concerning the police vacancies. Now, I hope by any means necessary, that's a priority in this budget. And any monies that can go eliminating those vacancies would be well spent. I mean, public safety is a major priority of the city. And with the 109 and the release of these prisoners that's being released, it's not necessarily a threat, but it's something to be very concerned about. Now, concerning the red flags, I'm glad finally somebody's recognized how much money has been wasted. And it's been almost $250,000 over the period of 5 years. Because we have wasted at least $500,000 per year. It's been non-productive, every city knows it, so I'm glad we finally recognize it. Now, one suggestion, don't wait till 5 months to discontinue that program. I mean, let's negotiate a fee for them to discontinue immediately, if it's possible in a contract, and be on the sideways to your financial advantage, because as it's pursuing now, it's gonna cost us another $450,000. And I might also tell you to audit that $89,000 a month and make sure and verify that those pictures are being taken, because that's 1,000 pictures. See, the cost is $89 that you pay in red flags whether the picture is good or not. And even that, I think it should have been analyzed prior to, because even if every picture they take is successful, at the end of the road, if every city, I mean, if every client pays the ticket, the only net effect to the city would be $55. That's it. So it's a bad contract. Also, regarding Vincent Park, I might tell you to defer to the county, because Vincent Park is a county park. And you might see what funds are available to probably be. And if you don't ask the county for the funds, they're not gonna automatically say, here, Inglewood, it's a Vincent Park, we'll help you. Now, as far as, here again, I'm gonna bring up the
10 seconds.
$18 million. I hope I have a little time where you don't limit it.
No, you don't have a little time, but go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So I want to make myself abundantly clear on that, because you only have 3 minutes when we have council meetings. But I want to make it very clear. I am all in favor of the forum. See, I recognize how much it's going to bring to the city.
Okay, I'm glad you're in favor of the forum. You're at time.
Okay, well, let me talk about the 18 million.
I'll talk about it. You're at time.
My time is up?
Yes, your time is up.
Okay, all
Thank
right.
you. Okay, let's address your concerns. First,
Well,
you can have a
but
seat.
asset transfers
Okay.
too, on the
Go
budget.
go right ahead. Go have a seat. First of all, as it relates to Red Flex, Mr. Falco, when did we sign that contract?
Mayor, we signed that contract almost 4.25 years ago.
Okay, Mr. Matthew, that contract was a contract. It didn't turn out to work out good for the city, but the reality is that we don't have the right just to break a contract. We get sued and we're liable for liquidated damages, so it's just not something we can do. You've talked about it for a long time. I think you understand contract law, and we can't just decide willy-nilly which contracts we're going to honor and which ones we don't. As it relates to the police department, I think we made it abundantly clear that the reason that we're not fully funding those positions now, because there's no way we could fill all 18 in the next coming year, but as the police department's able to fill those vacancies, we intend to find the money. And what was the third thing that you talked about?
The form.
Oh, the form, and once and for all, the 18 million that is allocated in escrow that Madison Square Garden does not have access to until they spend at least $50 million in renovation is approved on not one but two ROPS, and it has not been challenged by the state, and so there's no reason for you to keep saying that. So if you are for the forum, please stop discouraging people that might look at us on TV and think you know what you're talking about and think that we're going to lose, but basically is the economic engine for the city. That money has been approved. It was a valid expenditure, and in fact, it's in escrow, and it won't be accessed until there's 50 million in renovations. So I just wanted to make that clear to people. Okay, so anyway, are there any other council comments? Okay, good day, and so we're adjourned. Thank you.